All right. Good morning. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Thank you, sweetie. Wow. You saw nothing. So, the woman of God who will be bringing the word today, I've known since probably about 2006. And I believe I had the pleasure of knowing her before she became a believer. So this is amazing because we've had the opportunity to watch this young lady grow and mature, and just her connection with God to become stronger and stronger. Now, besides the fact that she's my favorite oldest daughter, she is actually impressive in and of her own right, that what God has done in her life and brought gifts forward in her. This morning, I think because of her hope, because of her humility, because of her humor, you're going to be blessed. Please help me welcome Misty Adams.
Thank you. Lizzie's going to help me do a special song to start us out. Elizabeth Grace. Come on up, sweet girl. Are you ready? You're going to do awesome. Here you go. Hold that right there. Here, sweetie. I will sing it with you.
I will too.
Here.
You want mommy to hold it?
Lizzie learned a new song in school this week, and it's supposed to be a surprise for Mother's Day, but she let me know what it was early because she's my kid and she can't hold surprises. All right. What is it? My mother has a special name. It's M-M-M-Y.
Oh, my mother has a special name. It's
M-O-M-M-Y. What's the rest of it?
If you ask me why I sing,
If you ask me why I sing,
say.
say. What's next?
I don't know. I don't want you to sing it.
I don't know it. All right. Next time, guys, we're totally going to sing it for Mother's Day. You ready? Okay. You want to tell everyone they look beautiful? You guys turn to the person next to you and tell them that they're looking good today. Especially after worship. You guys are looking really good today. All right. Now she's singing in my ear. All right. Everyone give Lizzie a hand. All right. What do I do with this one? I think describe parenthood. So these are ones that I found on Facebook. They are not ones that I wrote, but I wish I did. This guy is named Steve Wins, and the title is "To Parents of Small Children, Let Me Be the One Who Says It Out Loud." A lot of you will understand. Hopefully you all remember small children, or you're in that season now. Bless you all. All right. I am in the season of my life right now where I feel bone tired almost all the time. Ragged, how am I going to make it to the end of the day? Eyes burning, exhausted. I have 3 boys age 5 and under. I'm not complaining about that. Well, maybe I am a little bit. But I know that there are people who would give anything for a house full of laughter and chaos. I was that person for years and years. The pain of infertility is stabbing and throbbing and constant. I remember allowing hope to rise and then seeing it crash all around me. Month after month for 7 years, I am working on another post about infertility that will come at a later date. But right now, in my actual life, I have 3 boys ages 5 and under. There are many moments where they are utterly delightful. Like last week when Isaac told my sister-in-law that my daddy has hair all over. Or when Elijah put a green washcloth over his chin and cheeks and proudly declared, "Daddy, I have a beard just like you." Or when Ben sneaks downstairs in the morning before the other boys do, smiles at me and says, "Daddy and Ben time." But there are also many moments when I have no idea how I'm going to make it until their bedtime. The constant demands, the needs, and the fighting are fingernails across the chalkboard every single day. One of my children is for sure going to be the next Steve Jobs. I now have an immense empathy for his parents. He has a precise vision of what he wants, exactly that way and no other way. Sometimes it's the way his plate needs to be centered exactly to his chair, or how his socks go on, or exactly how the picture of the pink dolphin needs to look, with brave eyes, not sad eyes, Daddy. He has a laser beam, and he is not satisfied until it's exactly right. I have to confess that sometimes the sound of his screaming drives me to hide in the pantry. And I will neither confirm nor deny that while in there, I compulsively eat chips and or dark chocolate. There are people who say this to me. You should enjoy every moment now. They grow up so fast. I usually smile and give some sort of guffaw, but inside I secretly want to hold the people that make these kind of statements underwater, just for a minute or so, just until they panic a little bit. If you have friends with small children, especially if your children are now teenagers or if they've grown, please vow to me right now that you will never say this to them. Not because it's not true, but because it really, really doesn't help. We know it's true that they grow up too fast, but feeling like I have to enjoy every moment doesn't feel like a gift. It feels like one more thing that is impossible to do. And right now, that list is way too long. Not every moment is enjoyable as a parent. It wasn't for you, and it isn't for me. You just have obviously forgotten. I can forgive that for you. But if you tell me to enjoy every moment one more time, I will need to break up with you. If you are a parent of small children, you know that there are moments of spectacular delight, and you can't believe you get to be around these little people. But let me be the one who says the following things out loud. You are not a terrible parent if you can't figure out a way for your children to eat as healthy as your friends' children do. She's obviously using a bizarre and probably illegal form of hypnotism. You are not a terrible parent if you yell at your kids sometimes. You have little dictators living in your house. If someone else talked to you like that, they'd be put in prison. You are not a terrible parent if you can't figure out how to calmly give them appropriate consequences in real time for every single act of terrorism that they creatively devise. You are not a terrible parent if you'd rather be at work. You are not a terrible parent if you just can't wait for them to go to bed. You are not a terrible parent if the sound of their voices sometimes makes you want to drink and never stop. You're not a terrible parent. You're an actual parent with limits. You cannot do it all. We all need to admit that one of the casualties specific to our information-saturated culture is that we have a skyscraper standards for parenting, where we feel like we are failing horribly if we feed our children chicken nuggets and we let them watch TV in the morning. One of the reasons we are so exhausted is that we are oversaturated with information about the kind of parents we should be. So maybe it's time to stop reading the blogs that tell you how to raise the next president who knows how to read when she's 3 and who cooks, not only eats her vegetables. Maybe it's time to embrace being the kind of parent who says sorry when you yell, who models what it's like to take time for yourself, who asks God to help you to be a better version of the person that you actually are, not for more strength to be an ideal parent. So the next time you see your friends with small children, with that foggy and desperate look in their eyes, order them a pizza. Send it to their house at night. Do you have any children in here? Okay, good. Volunteer to take their kids for a few hours so they can be alone in their own house. For heaven's sake. Put your hand on their shoulder, look them in the eyes, and tell them that they're doing a good job. Just don't freak out if they start weeping uncontrollably. Most of the time, we feel like we're botching the whole deal, and our kids will turn into horrible criminals who hate us and will never want to be around us when they're older. You're bone tired. I'm not sure when it's going to get better. Today might be a good day, or it might be the day that you lost it in a way that surprised even yourself. Breathe in, breathe out. You're not alone. All right. Thank you for sticking with me. Did y'all enjoy that? Yes, good. Made me laugh. I read it every so often, usually at nighttime, 3 times a day. All right. All right, this one is hilarious. This one is Glennon Doyle Melton, and it's called It's Not You, It's Them. At 2 a.m., I love the fact that she numbers her children. She doesn't use their names, and it's hilarious to me. At 2 a.m., child number 3 shook me awake from a dead sleep to report with terror that, Mommy, I just opened my eyes and it was all dark and I was alone in my bed. Once again, I explained that this was not the description of some shocking, unique horror, but the normal process of sleeping. That's just sleeping, I said to my girl as she stared at me with a face that asked, what is this sleeping of which you speak? Is this something people do? At 9 a.m., I sat across the kitchen table, blurry-eyed, listening to child number 1 present a serious case for why he should get paid by me for basically breathing. Just breathing is what I gathered from him. Existing, something about human rights, I don't even know. I don't know. What I do know is that I was so freaking tired from child number 3's breaking sleeping news that I just picked up my coffee and said, I need you to stop talking. Just stop talking. Now, please. Don't act like you people haven't done this. I'm not the only one that needs to finish my coffee before I have conversations. All right. At 10 a.m., I took child number 2 with me to the store. There was a bird in the cage at the store. Child number 2 spent 90 seconds with this bird. Upon leaving the store, child number 2 looked at me and said, Mom, instead of buying me a horse, I'd like you to buy me a bird. I stared at child number 2 and eventually said, what the? I am not buying you a horse or a bird or even a popsicle. What are you talking about, child? Get in the car. It has been 1 full hour and child number 2 has not stopped talking about this bird. Apparently, I ruined her life because, and I quote, you say you value family, Mom. The bird was my family. I do not know. I just do not know. Listen to me. Every time I go speak somewhere, tired, worn out, wild-eyed mamas raise their tired hands and say to me, Glennon, I feel like I'm losing it at home. I feel crazy. Hold up. Okay. For obvious reasons, I am no parenting expert, but I know a heck of a lot about crazy, and I want you to trust me on this one. I want you to write this down and put it on your fridge for me. It's not you. It's them. It's them. Listen, I spent time in a mental hospital, and I am here to report that every single one of the beautiful folks I lived in there was more reasonable than the small people I live with now, all of them. You are good and normal and reasonable. It's them. The crazy is not in your head, it's in your house. We have to wait them out. We just have to smile and wait them out. We have fought too hard for our sanity to lose it now. Repeat after me. It's not me. It's them. I love you. 10 hours till bedtime. Godspeed. All right. So, thank you so much for bearing with me. I hope you enjoyed that. That's the end of, no, I'm just kidding. Cindy is actually going to do a special song that I requested her do. Sorry about that. I will do it now. Okay.
No, don't. is your back. Walking toward the airport, leaving us all in your past. I traveled 1,500 miles to see you. I begged you to want me, you didn't want to. But piece by piece he collected me up off the ground where you abandoned things. Piece by piece he filled the holes that you burned in me at 6 years old. He never walks away, never asks for money, takes care of me, he loves me. Piece by piece he restored my faith that a man can be kind and a father could stay. And all of your words, they fall flat. I made something of myself and now you want to come back. But your love isn't free, it has to be earned. Back then I didn't have anything you needed, so I was worthless. But piece by piece he collected me up off the ground where you abandoned things. Piece by piece he filled the holes that you burned in me 6 years old. He never walks away, never asks for money, takes care of me, he loves me. Piece by piece he restored my faith that a man could be kind and a father could stay. Piece by piece. Piece by piece I fell far from the tree. I'll never leave her like you left me. She will never have to wonder her worth, 'cause unlike you, I'm gonna put her first. He'll never walk away, he'll never break her heart, take care of things, he'll love her. Piece by piece he restored my faith that a man could be kind and a father should be great. Piece by piece.
Thank you so much. You did amazing. That's my mom. Oh, that's my mom. Sorry, Mom. So Mother's Day is coming up, which I'm super excited about, and we were talking about mothering with the heart of God. So my parents were divorced when I was 5. So you wouldn't know that my mom wasn't around my entire life because we're extremely close, and she stalks me uncontrollably, and she can't help herself. I'm a single woman, and anytime I think about going out on a date, she wants all of his information to do background checks. So that's where we're at in our relationship. She would fingerprint them, which she has once before, if I gave her the opportunity. So I love that about her. I feel like God's the same way. So except for he knows everything. So that's a plus for him. I didn't, when I graduated high school, I was 19. I moved down here to be closer to my mom and to get out of a small town because I don't want to live there. But mostly to be closer to my mom. So I lived with my mom for a little bit, and I remember a time where every couple of months, I was either getting into a car accident, getting a speeding ticket, or running out of gas. Apparently, I didn't really know how to do adulting very well, is what the truth is, people. So there came a time, and I would always call my mother, and there came a time where she would just finally pick up the phone and say, "What's wrong?" There would be no hello. There would be like, "What's wrong?" But the thing is she never once changed her number, which I appreciate, or locked the doors, changed the locks. She could have, but she always came to rescue me every time that I called, and helped me get a rental car or gas or my life together for the most part. Anyways, so that's the story of my mom, and I still do that now, except for I don't have car accidents anymore or get speeding tickets or run out of gas. I feel like I'm doing much better. You know, it's been 13 years, so I feel like I've moved on in my life, and that's good. That's good. Mostly because I have children of my own. It's embarrassing waiting on the side of the road for gas when you have 2 children in the back seat. But I did text my mom the other day and say, "Come quick. Josh popped his balloon and he needs another one." And guess what she did? She came over with a balloon, because that's my mom and that's our relationship. So don't judge either one of us right now for our dependency on one another, because I wouldn't be able to do that with anybody else in this room unless any of you guys are volunteering, and then I will put you on the list for emergencies such as balloon popping. Look, if anybody knows my son, he screams bloody murder. I mean, something had to be done. I couldn't take him to the store like this. I just needed someone to bring me the balloon. Okay? And that's the only person that I could think of that would do that. So, she also brings me milk if I'm out of milk. Anyways, it's fine. We have healthy relationship, good boundaries. But when I think about those things, I think about God. Like, I think about his love. I think about the fact that you can literally call him for anything. I mean, I believe he would deliver milk for you if you guys had that faith. I'm just saying. And balloons. I'll try that next. One will just come down from heaven. It's like, oh, here you go, Josh. Jesus brought that for you. I don't know. I'm going to try it next time and just see what happens. There might be the testimony next week. You don't know. And so when I think about a father's love, or loving children the way that God does, I think about my mom that has never once given up on me, even when I've been a hot mess, like extreme hot mess. Even when I've been hopeless, even when I've been depressed, even when I've been happy, even when whatever, my life is falling apart and I'm thinking I'm a worthless human being, she just comes over and helps me do laundry, and tells me everything's going to be okay. So that's the title of the message, is You're Going to Be Okay. So yes, and then I was blessed with very amazing other parents. Thank you guys. That are part of our village of raising children, because I feel like you should have a village. You should never do that on your own, because these people that wrote that stuff do it on their own. Like, I don't feel completely crazy like those people most of the time, because I feel like I have a village. And if I get to that point, I don't write blogs. I just call my mom. So but it makes for a good story, doesn't it? So I just wanted to talk to you guys first about change. I want to talk to you about change. I want to talk to you about testimony. I was thinking about the fact that we kind of don't take ourselves seriously. When Pastor texted me a couple of months ago, I think now, and asked me to preach today, I didn't respond. And when I saw him the next day, I said, "I'm sorry, I thought you texted the wrong person by mistake." And I know him well enough to know that maybe those things happen. You just never know. There's no other Misty in the church, but just maybe there's a lot of Adamses, and that could have happened easily to anybody. So I wasn't going to hold it against him at all. But we don't take ourselves seriously. We don't take our testimonies seriously. I think every one of you can stand up here and give a testimony today about how Jesus saved you and turned your life around and broke chains off of your life. And it kind of like, I bet you told a whole lot of people when you first got saved. I know I did, like, let me tell you my testimony. And they're like, who are you? And I was like, it doesn't matter. Let me tell you what happened. Like, let me tell you, like, what God's done for me. Like, I couldn't wait to share it. And every time God would do something for me, I would share it more and more. And I would share it with strangers. And I would share it with people that I know and love. And I would share it with a microphone. And I'd ask Pastor to share a testimony every single Sunday because I have another testimony. God, and now we're like, I don't know. I mean, it was a long time ago. It's not really relevant now, But, like, I think about on my 22nd birthday. It was my 22nd birthday that I got saved. I woke up extremely hungover. That's the truth. Put that on the tape. And extremely hungover. And I remember talking to God and saying, I really don't want to do this anymore. Like, this is not fun. Like, what am I doing and why am I doing it? Like, and God was speaking to me and sending people to me way before that to sow seeds and all that stuff. But it wasn't until that morning that I was like, whew, I probably should make a choice because this whole sitting on the fence, it's not really working out for anybody. And so I remember doing that. And so I remember my testimony and the next few months after that where I was baptized in the Holy Spirit. And I remember that I had to go through a series of forgiving people and that I had to forgive people and I had to receive forgiveness in order to move forward with God. And those were his exact words to me is, do you want to move forward with me? And if so, these are the steps to take. Like, I remember hearing his voice so clear and speaking in tongues all the time because I just couldn't get enough of his presence. Like I just wanted to be with him and I just wanted to tell everyone about him. And sometimes we like 10 years after the fact, you're going around and you're like, yeah, I prayed for a kid for a couple of years and God told me that it was going to happen. And so I set up the nursery and, people are like, that's a great story. And you're like, yeah, well, I mean, whatever. The kid's now 5, so it's not that big of a deal now, but it's still a big deal. It's still a big deal. And people need those testimonies. So speaking of that cute little 5-year-old, I never thought I was going to get her. I never thought that I would have kids. Like I was sure of it, like it just wasn't happening, and my timing and that whole timing nonsense, like we set times on our lives and we're like, it hasn't happened yet, so it's never going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. And then we get another year older and we're like, it hasn't happened yet. And with Lizzie, like it hadn't happened yet. And I was discouraged. And God was telling me one thing and the enemy was telling me another thing. And it was really convincing to be like, I don't know. I don't see anything. And then finally, I just decided that I was just going to prepare for it. I was just going to prepare for it. I had help making her. I can't take full credit for all this. But she's completely amazing. And I remember going and giving blood donations, and they asked me how many kids I had, and at that time I had none, 0. And I said 4, because that's how many God told me I would have. So I just started telling random people I had 4 children. And if they asked me their names, and I was like, okay, well, we'll talk about that. I mean, now you're going to want to see pictures, and this will be really awkward. But I just started telling everyone. And I worked at an OB-GYN office, and that was torture. I worked at an OB-GYN office, and I was praying for a baby for 2 years. There was times that I went into the bathroom at my office and just cried. Because there would be these ladies that would come in, and they're like, oh, yeah, we just started trying last week, and here I am pregnant. I'm like, get out. Go. Like, what are you doing here? Like, it felt like torture. It felt like it. And then people would invite me to baby showers, and you're like, don't want to go to your baby shower, but I'm going to go, and then I'm going to cry in the bathroom there, because that's what I do around babies and pregnant people. And it was just hard. It was hard waiting for God's promise. I mean, it's just the timing. You know, things that haven't happened yet doesn't mean that they're not going to happen. It's just that it's not their time. You know, like that's easy for me to say because I have, you know, really cute kids, but like the discouragement sets in. I get it. Like I do. And so we got pregnant with Lizzie, and I was ecstatic. Like I have 500 sonogram pictures of her because I worked in an OB-GYN office, so that was possible. Like she's extremely photogenic because of that, so you're welcome. But then the funny thing happened is right after we had Lizzie. As you know, my children look a lot like twins for a good reason. 2 months after that, I wanted to get on birth control. I wanted to, you know, take a break a little bit. I mean, that was enough. I mean, it's 9, 10 months, whatever. I don't keep track. It was a lot. Okay. And God said, absolutely not. Like, I've never felt the conviction of God more in my entire life than he was like, no. So we got pregnant with Josh, which was a glorious time. It was very relaxing. I wasn't stressed at all. I lost no sleep in 3 years. So praise the Lord. But then I keep thinking, like, this is what I asked for. Okay, I asked to be a mom. I asked for these kids. So don't be surprised when it looks a little bit different than maybe what you pictured, because I asked for 1 and got 2. And that's okay. You just have to be prepared for whatever God gives you, and you have to prepare yourself for that blessing and for what he's about to bring into your life. Like the time to prepare would not be when I got pregnant. The time to prepare was before. That's when I was getting in shape and preparing my body. That's when I started eating better, because I was preparing for a baby that wasn't even there yet. But you have to prepare. So that's my kids, and they're completely awesome. I'm not biased at all, so just in case you guys were wondering. Okay, so talked about the mom thing. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so I was reading through my Facebook page, and you know how they do the flashback memory thing. Okay, well, apparently this time of year is apparently when I talk a lot about endings and beginnings and scared and changes. And anyways, here we are. So I was looking at that, and it said April 30th, 2010, ending and beginning, scared and excited. April 30th, 2015, accept what is right now, let go of the past, have faith in all that will be. Same day, I know it's scary, but you have to move forward, change, dream again, let your focus be your future. So, I was, the reason why I asked Cindy to do that song is, for one, she's an amazing singer. I mean, so I was just like, gosh, let's just find her a song to sing. But I also, I heard that song on American Idol. I don't know if you guys watched her. I probably watched it on YouTube after, and everyone has been boo-hooing for like months. So thank you so much, Kelly Clarkson, for doing that to us. It's her fault. Do what? Okay. Okay, do you want? Just kidding. But that's a true story. Like, that came from her heart. And it just made me think, and I haven't been there. I don't know what it's like. But there's a couple of things that I really heard in that song. For one, generational stuff. Like, I won't tell anybody's testimonies. I'll let them tell their own. But my amazing father, James Sr., maybe had a similar story than Kelly Clarkson. He can tell it later. But he had a choice to make, as do we all. Paul, my mom, there are stories that make them amazing parents now. They didn't have to be. They could have chose to do what their parents did. They could have chose to do what they saw growing up, or what was in their generation, what was in their lineage. They could have done something different. But instead, they decided that they were going to be amazing parents and that they were going to change their generation for the better. Like, we all have that choice. I don't know a single one of us that doesn't have parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles that maybe are divorced, alcoholism, drugs, addiction, something going on in your lineage. There are people in your family that you don't go home to Christmas to see for good reason, or family reunions. And if you have a perfect family, take me to Christmas, because I would like to go just to see what that looks like, because I've never been in a perfect family. I'm just kidding. And so that's the first thing that song really reminded me of. And God made me listen to that song every single day. And I was like, gosh, does he just want me to cry? Does God want me to cry? Have you ever had those moments where you just feel like God just likes to see me cry, because he gives me songs and he gives me scriptures and he brings people to give me words, and then I'm boo-hooing and then I'm crying on the way to work and then at work. And anyways, and then the tears never seem to stop. And you're like, God wants to see me cry. That's my story. Thank you guys all for agreeing with me on that one. So that was the first thing, is generational stuff, is I really want you guys to know that you can change. You can change. You don't have to do what they did. You can be a totally different parent than what your parents were, good or bad. You can follow God, and you can change generations going forward. You can break generational curses, and you could do a clean slate. Okay, totally possible. And the other thing is the picture that Kelly Clarkson was drawing in that song of being left, and someone moving on from her. Okay, that doesn't have to be a father. My father never left. Technically, my mom did, but I don't feel like you ever left. I love you. But it doesn't have to be a father or mother. Like, every single one of us has been passed by. Every single one of us has been rejected. Every single one of us has been left by something, someone, a job promotion, a friend, a family member, a parent, a sister, a brother, a spouse, children. You've been left. You've been rejected. So, but that doesn't have to be the final part. Like, it doesn't. You don't have to just stop there. At that point, you can decide to move on. You can either be a victim, you can be bitter, you can be unforgiving, and you can stay where you're at. And then you can tell that story about how you were rejected 10 years ago in a bar somewhere. And you'll probably find a few more people to throw in good stories about how they were rejected. And then you guys can all be friends. Or you can trust God, you know? And so to me, like, at the end of this song is when she really talks about how she's going to do things different. You know, like how let's, acknowledge the fact that she's a complete success, but also, like, besides that, she talks about how she's going to raise her kids differently. How she's going to do things different, that her kids will never know the pain of being left, the pain of rejection. I mean, they'll probably experience it sometime in life, but it's not going to be from their parent. And so that's what I got out of it, is you can totally do things differently. You don't even have to stay where you are, because I guarantee you, Kelly Clarkson could have just stayed where she's at. And she could have maybe just done her own thing, and she maybe would have never been a success. She maybe would have never gone on American Idol. And I'm sure there are plenty of stories that I could have reached up from even people from the Bible, but today it's about Kelly Clarkson. About moving on. Not stand where you are. Embrace change. Like, change happens all the time. I'm sure I can go around the room and you guys can talk about either the change that's coming in your life or the change that's happened in the last 6 months. It's always going to change. And guess what? Next year, it'll be changes too. and it'll be good and it'll be bad, and you'll have to rely on people, and you'll have to trust God more, and you'll have to be moving on again, and you'll have to be changing the way you think, and you'll have to be trusting more, and you'll have to be, making a choice. Because once you overcome this battle of choosing to move on, of choosing to let go of, toxic relationships and pain and bitterness in your life, next year you'll have another opportunity, maybe sooner than that, of something will happen and you'll get another chance to let go, to choose forgiveness, to choose the right path, and to choose God's timing. You guys are doing awesome. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you so much, Nathan. All right. So, in conclusion, you guys are going to start sharing your testimonies more. That's your homework. I would like you to go tell it to 5 people today. It's fine. You guys just go out to lunch and find some people. You guys are also going to dream again. Okay, because I know that thing that happened 5, 10, 15 years ago, maybe 5 minutes ago, could shape you for the worse. Or could shape you for the better. So you have to choose wisely. So I do have a couple people that I've asked to come up here to pray. Now, you guys can get prayer for anything that you want, for one. Specifically, if there's generational curses in your family that you want broken so you don't carry those on to the next generation, this would be a great time to get prayer for that, because I think that you should. And Jesus is on board with me, and I'm on board with him. The other thing is forgiveness, is moving past something in your life so you cannot miss what God's doing. Because I really don't want you guys to miss it. I don't want me to miss it. And if you get stuck on this thing, you might miss it. And that wouldn't be good for anybody. Especially the generations, especially your church, especially your family. It's really, we kind of need all of you guys to be not missing what God's doing, so we can all be awesome together. So on that note, I would like to invite, I asked my mom, by the way, to pray for people on Sunday, and she said, what people? I said, people that want prayer. And she said, and I said, and you can invite your husband to help too. And she goes, well, I talked to Paul, and I'm going to pray for the people that want prayer, and he's going to pray for the people that don't. So everyone's covered. So nobody is safe in this room because they've got you covered. So I'm going to invite them up, because I've included all of my parents today, in case you guys haven't noticed, to play an intricate part in my sermon, because I love you guys, and my daughter, who did an amazing job. So if you want prayer, these are the awesome people to do it. And I'll be happy to pray for you too. Thank you.
I just want to talk in this for some reason. Hey, come on up. Get some prayer, people.
I'll be brief. No, seriously, I already feel in the room that there's somebody who has Okay, it's like you can't forgive yourself. I don't know who that is, and it's okay, just something that you've done, you know. I mean, you can forgive other people, but it's eating you up inside. Actually, there's more than one, but it's just something you've been carrying around. It's a weight, and just come up here and hang on just a second. Everybody stand up for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, because these chains have to be broken. That's holding you down. And part of it is you're sitting. There's just something that's holding you back. It's holding you back, and you are. It's something you just can't forgive yourself for, but you can.
Told you guys the title of my message is "You're Going to Be Okay." So whatever that looks like, I want you guys, if you're unsure, because that's the word that God likes to speak to me, usually anytime life changes happen, is He likes to come and say, you're going to be okay. And to me, that's enough. He might give you a song. He might speak to you a different way. He might give you a scripture. Usually He just tells me what I need to know, which is the thing that I'm not sure of. So if you're unsure, wherever you are, if you're going to be okay, then I want you to come up for prayer.